Today we're going to talk about two things: drowsy driving and driving at night. Both very dangerous, but the knowledge we're going to give you is to make it less dangerous. You've learned a lot so far, you're going to learn a lot more. Did you know 80 to 100,000 crashes happen on just drowsy driving in a year? 80 to 100,000 crashes every year on just drowsy driving. That is incredible. So, a lot of people like you and I think, you know what, I'm a little tired. And we don't think of the fact of how many hours have we really been up. Whether we're up 15 hours or 17 hours, that's pretty normal, because if you're getting 8 hours of sleep, you're up 16 hours. And a 17-hour being awake is equivalent to a 0.05 alcohol count. So, we think mind-wise, we say, you know what, I'm just a little bit tired, I'm okay. But the fact of the matter is your body is starting to shut down. When you're drowsy, your eyes play games on you. They get twitchy, you get blinky, they get watery. They start doing all kinds of things, and that's not good for you driving. Being drowsy also affects your reaction time. You might think that your mind is working well, but you're actually very slow. You don't move as quick. You think you can, but you don't because you're tired. So a lot of people think that the only time you find drowsy drivers is at night, but that's not true at all. We have people that work the night shift. We have people that work the third shift. We have people that study all night. We have people that go to parties all night. So you know what? Morning, afternoon, or night, doesn't matter. We always have drowsy drivers on the road. You, to be the great defensive driver, have to always be aware of that. Because remember, drowsy drivers are like a 0.05 alcohol blood level, and that's never good on our roads. So, when your eyes start twitching, when your head starts bobbing, when you're trying to keep blinking to stay awake, you know what? You need to take that very, very seriously, and you need to get yourself off the road. So now let's talk about nighttime driving. It is more dangerous than daytime driving. We have less cars on the road, but we have more crashes, and we have more fatalities at night, up to 4 times as many as during the day. So I'm going to give you some great tips to help you be a better driver, a safer driver at night. So one of the things we always have to remember to do at night is to make sure you keep a clean windshield. It is so important. Here's some dash cam videos that we did on nighttime driving, dirty windshield, clean windshield, and I want you to notice the difference on how much you cannot see, or the glares, the smudges, just how you just don't see the big picture when your windshield's dirty. So you know what? Just keep that windshield clean. It's a simple thing to do. Anytime you're driving at night, you need to remember to use your headlights correctly. You have a high beam and you have a low beam, and you know what? Usually we don't use high beams in our cities or anywhere there's a high volume of traffic. You want to save your high beams more for out in your rural areas because it does help you see more. Now, when you're driving down the road and you do have your high beams on and a car's coming at you and they have their high beams on, what I like to do is when I see a high beam coming at me, I like to wait until right at my 1,000 feet, which is approximately 3 football fields. But I really like to see that car shut theirs off first, because then I knew they saw me. But when I get to that 1,000 feet right there, that 3 football fields, that's when I'll shut mine off and watch. You'll all of a sudden see them shut theirs off. Now, what happens if they don't shut theirs off? Well, you know what? You still need to control that car going straight down the road, and you still have a potential head-on collision, and them headlights are blinding you. So, you know what? A good thing for you to do is you still need to focus on the road, but if you kind of glance over to the right side of the road, that will change the reflection of the headlights into your eyes. You still need to stay focused on the road, but focus to the right. That should help you drive when somebody won't dim their headlights. You've probably heard the term overdriving your headlights. It's a very dangerous thing, and here's really what it means. Overdriving your headlights means when you're on high beam, you can see 350 feet, that's approximate, that's what you're supposed to be able to see, 350 feet in front of you. That's over a football field. Remember, a football field's 300 feet. So what overdriving means, when you switch them down to dim or turn the brights off, now your lights are only shining 150 feet. If you're going 60 miles an hour, it takes you approximately 2 to 250 feet to stop the car. which means you can't stop for something you can't see. And that's what they mean by overdriving your headlights. If something runs in front of you at 200 feet out and you can only see 150, you're overdriving. You're going to hit that object. So you got to remember that when you're going fast and you're on low beams, you need to increase your following distance. You need to slow down a little bit because you don't know what the person in front of you is going to do. And when you're following too close, something could run out in front of them, and then potentially you could run into the back of them because they slammed their brakes on. So the safest thing to do is just give yourself more distance. You're not going anywhere anyway, right? So, you know, just another safe tip for you. So let's talk about a common mistake that people make at night when they're driving. You get a little bit of rain, a little bit of, visibility problems, and people want to look straight down at the car, the front of the car. So they crunch up like little old grandma, and they look down, and they're not seeing anything because now when disaster strikes, you have no defensive driving move. So you know what? We need to get our head up. We need to look straight ahead because our peripheral becomes more, our vision becomes more going down the road, and you know what? It makes you a safer driver. All right, so you're driving down the road and all of a sudden it's dark out and all of a sudden some driver gets in behind you, they got their bright lights on, and all of a sudden it's blinding you, and it does blind you in your eyes coming through that rear view mirror. So you know what? We got different kinds of rear view mirrors. First of all, newer cars have an automatic dimmer in their mirrors. So if there's a little light, it might be blue or something inside, you'll see it on the outside of your mirror. That means that's usually automatic, or there's even might be a button that says auto on your rear view mirror. That's going to dim that mirror. It's automatically, so it's not blinding to you based on how bright it is behind you. But if you don't have that and somebody is blinding you from behind, you know what? There's a little lever underneath your mirror that you can just pull down. And what that does is it deflects the mirror downwards so it's not blinding you, and you'll be able to see. Well, it won't be so distracting to you. Remember, your car is going forward. We can't stay focused on what's going on behind us. That's why that's there. So imagine this. You're driving down the road and you see a headlight coming at you, just one. Don't always assume it's a motorcycle because this could be a very dangerous thing that's about to happen right now. You know, when I was a kid, we played a game called Padiddle, meaning that we would always search for, we actually looked, we drove a lot at night because Grandma lived 3 hours away. So after Dad got off work, we'd drive to Grandma's on weekends and we played a game called Padiddle. And whoever caught the single headlight first got to slug everybody else, say Padiddle. Now, I don't want you slugging people in the car, okay? That was just a game we played. But you know what? To this day, I'm always looking for a single headlight. And you know what? You always assume that headlight is on the right side of the car because you have a potential head-on collision that you can't see right now. So if you think it's just that headlight's going to be in their own lane, that car could potentially be in your lane. So I just want you to be safer and pay attention to that. I'm sure you've been driving down the road one time or another and you saw a car that didn't have its taillights on, but it had its headlights on. It was hard to see. Well, you know, some of these newer cars have what they call daytime running lights, and a lot of people are confused and they turn that button on. Well, that means their taillights aren't on. That's just their front lights are on to help more people see them during the daytime. And the taillights don't come on when that happens. So you know what? I want you to get in the habit of just turning your headlights on. Turn the knob to the headlight part. That way your front and back headlights are on and you don't become that problem. So one of the things you want to watch for when you're driving at night is a potential animal crossing in front of you, which could be dangerous if you don't handle the situation right. We have more animals running at night than we do during the day. Why? Because they can see at night. We can't, they can. That's why their eyes glow a little bit when your lights hit them. Or there could be a shadow of them. You're always watching that out in the distance as you're driving up to them. Unless they shoot across out of a deep ditch and run into the side of you, most of the time you can kind of see them before you get to them. So what I don't want you to see you do is lose control of your car and injure yourself because all of a sudden you panicked. So remember, when you're driving at night, there's always the potential that an animal is going to run out in front of you. And you know what? I love animals, but thump, thump, I don't want to see you getting killed or hurt because you lost control of your car over the animal. Let's talk about a very serious crash that happens mainly at night. It's the wrong way driver. It happens in every state, every city. There's always people that die because of it because they're not ready for it. All right? You always have to be ready. If headlights are coming towards you or a car is coming towards you on the wrong way, you need to have that exit picked. You know, I'll give you a statistic that just came out in Arizona. They had over 700 wrong way drivers in the first 6 months of a calendar year. Think of that, over 700 confused drivers going down the wrong way. So you know what? It can kill you quickly if you don't know what you're doing. So remember, have that exit picked, always be ready for it, and you're going to be the safer driver on the road. I'm Mike Pehl, reminding you to always drive safe and ride safe.